movie was ass. What were they thinking? They didn't even play Sunflower. Nah, just kidding. I just got done watching Spider-Man Across the Multiverse, and it was actually pretty goddamn good. Well made, well told, heartfelt story with great characters, great writing, great animation, great action, great pacing, and I had a really good time with it, just like the first movie. I only have a few issues with the movie, a few little problems here or there, but I have nothing major negative to say about this movie. I really thought it was a really well made movie, and overall I rate it very highly. I give it a 9 out of 10. So that's all I'm gonna say for everyone who wants to avoid spoilers, because I know it just recently came out. But I definitely recommend you go see it. If you love the first movie, you're gonna love this one. This is objectively just as good as the first movie, but in my opinion, it is a little bit better in certain ways, and I'm gonna go over that. But it also is worse in certain ways too, as well. So let's get into it. So the movie starts off with Miles. It starts off with Gwen. So we get a 20-minute Gwen backstory. So yeah, this isn't exactly just Miles's movie. This is Gwen's movie. Gwen gets a lot of screen time in this movie, and I'm not going to judge this yet. We're going to put a pin in this. First of all, it's nothing wrong with another character who isn't the main character getting a lot of screen time. However, it does seem like Gwen is taking a lot of screen time in this movie, and this will be okay. This will be okay in the future, because if you've seen the movie, you know that this movie is not like a completed film. It's part one, I'd say. I don't even want to fully judge this movie yet, because it feels like part one of another movie that's gonna have a part two that's coming out next year. So it's very clearly planned that there's gonna be two parts, because if not, it'd be years apart for the next movie. But no, it's coming out next year. So I feel like I feel like Gwen is being set up for one of two ways. Either one, she is going to die in the next movie. She's going to be the one that dies in the end. Now, if I think that's going to happen, I think that's going to be peak. The way they set this up, the way they wrote this, I think that's actually going to work very well for Miles and all the characters. I think that will be fine. But if it's not that, and what I'm really fearing is that in the next movie, actually, Miles is going to die. Miles is going to be taken off the mantle, and they're going to make Gwen the MC, the MC of the Spiderverse movies. Now, I know you may be like, what? You're crazy. This is Miles' story. Why would they ever do that? Well, it wouldn't be Miles' story anymore. The trilogy would be officially completed, and Miles would probably die like towards the end of the movie. I feel like they're running out of things to say about him. You know, his whole arc this movie was basically just, my parents don't believe in me, my parents don't know, so I don't want to tell them that I'm Spider-Man. But at the same time, Gwen was having the same kind of similar arc, so I guess it kind of works. And then her arc ended up working out for her eventually. So she expected, so Spider-Man may have, Miles may have as well, but we don't know. I don't even know. It's just too much speculation. All I'm saying is I think one of these two characters are going to die in the next movie, and I hope it's not Miles, because I think then this trilogy would actually be very peak if they do it right. But if it's not Miles, then it'll be good. But if it's Gwen, that's going to be terrible, because that's just, I don't like that kind of thing. I don't like trading MCs and shit like that. If they felt so strongly about Gwen, they should have just made Gwen the MC in Spider-Verse, instead of, you know, making us watch the story of another character and transferring all that energy over to Gwen. And like I said, Gwen has gotten a lot of screen time in this movie, like a lot. I would say she almost has just as much, maybe more than Miles. I don't know, I'd have to go back and really time it, but she has a lot of fucking screen time. Like it's not just like, you know, Mary Jane type screen time from a Spider-Man movie. She has a lot. So we'll see what happens. Another thing that I really want to little nitpick is sometimes, you know, Spider-Man's doing that thing where he's like, let me make something funny. Like in the beginning of the movie, the introduction of Miles into the film, there's a villain robbing a store, and a guy trying to fight the villain off himself with a baseball bat, he could potentially get hurt, and he does get hurt a little bit, nothing crazy, but he does get hurt. and other people end up getting hurt in the future because Miles wants to take time making a fucking hot pocket and look, audience, aren't I so quirky and funny? I get it, he's not taking Spot seriously, but he should, because Spot is very seriously, and not only that, but there's another human being in danger and he's not taking it seriously. I don't like when Spider-Man do that. Like, Spider-Man should never do anything like that. But another thing that I thought was really interesting with the Spider-Man concept was going against determinism, fate, I guess you could say. And I really like that concept. That's why I like No Way Home a lot. No Way Home really challenged that concept as well. And I think it's really interesting that usually Spider-Man is the one to challenge the fate. In No Way Home, all the Spider-Men were willing to challenge the fate with each other because they're like, this is what we do, we're Spider-Man. However, in this movie, all the other Spider-Men except for Miles is the one who wants to challenge fate, which is pretty cool, I guess, but also kind of weird. I mean, I get their point of view, right? One person for an entire dimension is, not a good trade. However, usually Spider-Man is more positive about these things, and to see all of these different Spider-Man being so negative about it is pretty interesting, I'd say. Maybe they'll all come around in the next movie. Some of them do start coming around in this movie, but I don't know, it's just kind of anti-Spider-Man to be like, nope, let that motherfucker die, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. And then I want to get into the woke stuff. Now, I hate woke stuff more than anybody, trust me. When I see woke material, I'm the first one. I don't want woke stuff in my movie. If there was anything like, say for example, Spider-Man's web slinging, and there's a black and a white cop, and the white cop needs help and the black cop needs help at the same time, and Spider-Man chooses the black cop instead and tells the white man, you'll figure it out, or some shit like that, I would literally call this movie a 0 out of 10 automatic, because I hate that shit, right? But there isn't anything like that. There's just a few throwaway lines and a few background things that are kind of fucking annoying, the protect trans kid thing. Gwen has a poster of it in her room, and then there's her dad wears it on top of his badge, so people are saying that Gwen is trans because of that. It's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny meme. And then the rebuttal to that is this, which is even funnier. And then also Miles has a Black Lives Matter sticker on his book and things like that. These things are negatives for me. They do not need to be in the movie. However, because they are not plot relevant, I can't really take it away. It's kind of like in The Last of Us 2, when spoilers for that game, when one of the children was revealed to be a trans character. Didn't really change anything about the plot, so it didn't really bother me. So I have to say the same thing here. It doesn't really change anything about the plot. However, I hope that they don't ever introduce anything that changes the plot in a woke mannerism. And also, I hope they keep the wokeness to a minimum. No one wants to see this, even if it's subliminal, even if it's in the background. No one cares. It's not important. You're only diminishing the quality of your own movie. And that really, bothered me quite a bit. So because of all the things I've mentioned here, the few moments of Spider-Man acting a little unspider-manly, and those few moments of propaganda in the background, I have to give it a 9. However, I do want to stress that it is a very enthusiastic 9 out of 10. This was, again, a great film. The animation is probably, again, broken the record for the best animated film of all time. It is simply phenomenal what they've done with this movie. The music, the pacing, it feels like you're watching a beautiful ensemble of just talent and gorgeousness and wonder. It's a joy and a marvel to look at. The music is phenomenal, matches the energy perfectly in every single scene, and the moment to moment storytelling, it just goes by so quickly and so efficiently and so fast that before you know it, you're literally at the end of the movie. Like, I was watching it and it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I was like, at the 2 hour point, I'm thinking we're at an hour. We got an hour left. No, we're almost done. And it's crazy how fast this movie went. And then the cliffhanger was very crazy and interesting as well. I really liked the way they set that up. However, I was upset at the moment because I thought the movie was ending, but now that I know it's going to be a two-part or it's coming out next year, then it's not so long of a wait. I don't mind. If it was coming out like 4 years, I'd be pissed, but a year, it's not that bad. One of my biggest problems with the original Spider-Verse was the usage of the Spider-Men. It felt like most of the Spider-Men, aside from Peter and Gwen, were just there for pretty much, fan service. They didn't really add anything to the story, and they kind of took away from it a little bit for me. I think the movie would have been a lot better if it just remained Peter and Miles, and at most Peter, Miles, and Gwen, but they wanted to get more Spider-Man in there, and it kind of started to detract from the story for me just a little bit. Something that Across the Spider-Verse does better, in my opinion, is making the Spider-Man actually relevant to the plot, and they did a very good job with that. So that's something I really appreciated, because then it gave the Spider-Man a reason to all be there. The validity of that reason could be questioned, but at least there is a solid reason for them all to be there and to be against Miles. And so I thought that was very interesting. Also, I think that the main I guess you could say quote unquote antagonist Spot was interesting as well. His powers were very cool. His motivation was a little lacking. Why'd he wait a year to attack? But whatever, it works out fine. He slowly gains more and more tension throughout the movie until he's finally respected as a true villain. I thought that was cool as well. But the most interesting character in this movie by far was Miguel, Spider-Man 2099. He was a phenomenal character, great backstory. He was really very well written. I liked the way he acted. I liked his ferocity. He commanded the scene, at the same time being a good person, also showing those signs that he could potentially be evil. It's like pretty much Spider-Man if he was Batman, and I think that's pretty fucking cool. It was a really nice take on the character. I really enjoyed every moment he was on screen, and I hope we see a lot of him in the next movie. I hope he has a major role to play, because this movie felt more like build up, because he really didn't do anything except flap his gums in this one. So hopefully next movie he steps it up a bit, but we'll see. So in the end, Spider-Verse, they did it again. It was a great, wonderful movie. The first movie, just as good as the first movie, if not better, depending on, some points of it are better, some points of it are worse. But I had a great time watching it. Can't wait to see the finale, how it ends. And yeah, great movie. All right, that's it. Peace.